Hey guys, so I've got a metaphor for you. We'll see where it goes. I'm kind of winging it. I've started writing it down, but like it keeps popping into my head, which is like a sign, a message that it's needs to get out there, or I need to share it. So I'm just going to like off the cuff type give this a go. So it's the sand timer, like the egg timer type thing, right? So imagine, our lives. So imagine that, picture the egg timer, the sands of time, going through the hourglass. These are the days of our lives. Like sands through the hourglass. So this in itself, like there's a lot of metaphors out there along this line, right, with the sands of time. So picture you're that, right? And we're all so consumed with time, like time's running out. So starting with that, and this kind of the anxiety that we all have inside us, and it's just like we're forever kind of, I don't know, managing this hourglass, right? Like, do we just let it run out? Are we continually flipping it? Are we living our lives like this, right? Is totally consumed with watching those grains of sand, just like fuck. I just got the other thing is like with the whole time thing, like past, present and future. Like, so imagine the sand right in the middle, one little grain of sand right in the middle of that hourglass. That is the present. Every time that grain of sand is dripping through that, that tiny little thing, like only one grain of sand at a time can kind of get through. That is the present moment. Everything underneath is the past, and everything that's still in the top of the hourglass is what's to come. And I'm kind of getting like, there is a lot of metaphors mixed up in this, but I'm just going to go with it and see what comes, because whatever comes out is meant to come out. So like at the moment I'm getting the idea of time, and the quantum, like everything that ever was, ever will be, is in that hourglass. It is all there. And you can consider every grain of sand in that hourglass like one of your incarnations. And whichever one is in this little tube in the middle, the sweet spot in the middle, the grains of sand that's moving right in the middle, is your current life. That is, the present moment. The ones that are on the bottom are your past lives. The ones that are yet to come down are your future lives. You can relate this to you and your lives, past, present, future. You can relate it to time in general, past, present, future. In this current life, you can relate it to time in general. that, you know, everything happens all at once, like it is all there. And, you know, it's just the flow. The natural flow of time, like through an hourglass. And yeah, so understanding, like, I mean, understanding bigger picture thinking, to relate it to your personal life, your present moment. You know, it is such an important part, this bigger picture thinking, whether it's your soul evolution as in incarnations, or it is the bigger, you know, dynamics going on of the world, like human development, universe development, time. It is so important to wrap our heads around that in order to have the perspective shift that you need in order to really become, well, you could say, to become an enlightened individual, to really get the most out of your existence. Like, this is, you know, the whole escaping the matrix, the new earth, the, you know, 5D living. If you start considering yourself as part of something that you are, like, your journey is that much bigger. You know, if you consider your life from a soul perspective, if you consider the world from a, you know, that large grand scale perspective, if you can consider relationship dynamics from that grand scale perspective, if, you know, yeah, like, you get what I'm talking about, your shift in thinking and of being, in contributing to the world, and your focus shifts, and you have a more, it is, you know, you're going to have a more realistic, to be honest, like, realistic, a more realistic picture of your part in this, like why you're here, your purpose, what it all means, you know what I mean? So, you know, these metaphors that we've been given, the stories that we've been given, handed down, you know, ancient wisdom and all this, it is all to try and help us, assist us, wrap our heads around the quantum, around the big picture, the big symphony, and our part in it. And, you know, there is massive layers to this. But anyway, so, like, I'll continue with this metaphor, right? So if you can wrap your head around this idea of the you know, the sands of time, right? And, you know, this is, we're talking now, this is you and this is your life. Like, when you get to this point of realizing the bigger picture, that it feels like you're able to knock this, you're able to stop time almost. But like, when you get this big picture idea of your sands dripping through, you know, like, if you're watching that and this is your time running out type thing in this lifetime, and you're just like, well, I have no control over it, it's just going to happen as it happens. You know, that's, you know, you can just have that kind of mindset and give up, or you can really go outwards and realize that no, I don't accept that. Like, if I knock this over, I'm stopping my time. I'm now in control of my life. You know, it doesn't exactly make sense, but this is kind of what the awakening process feels like. It feels like you've just taken control of that egg timer, like your egg timer. You're like, I'm just going to keep rocking this thing until it tips over. Like, I'm in control of my sands, you know, no one else. So, you know, you start moving your sands in the egg cup until it tips over. And then you realize, oh, well, I can freaking move this thing wherever I want. And you start moving your sands. You start moving your sands and controlling your own egg timer, you know, thing. And you start rolling. And I'm kind of like, I can't remember exactly what I wrote when I wrote this, but just go with me. Like, so, you know, like, you're at this point where you've realized your power. You've effectively stopped your time. Like, you're taking control of your time now, and you're rolling, and you're getting used to this. Oh shit! All right, now I'm rolling, and I can move my sands around a little bit in order to maneuver this egg timer. And you know, you're rolling around, you know, kind of searching for your ideal flow, for your, you know, you're being drawn to your magnet. Like, almost, you know, imagine those sands are metallic, and you feel this automatic kind of pull towards, you know, your magnet, where you want to go. And so you're being pulled, and you're maneuvering your egg cup by you know, moving your sands around a little bit, and you're rolling. And I've got a feeling that I'm missing something out of this metaphor, but anyway, yeah, so all of a sudden you're moving. You're not just letting life pass you by, you know what I mean? And like, so I'm going to skip to the next part of this metaphor. Like, anyway, so I think it was like after a while, oh yeah, that's right, so this magnet, and you know, you're being pulled to this, right? And you can feel yourself speeding up, like once you get your balance right, and you start rolling, and you're like, oh shit, I'm moving now, and this magnet is drawing me, and now I feel out of control again. And the fear kicks in, like, what is going to happen? I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's pulling me. You know, I thought this was right, but fuck, where am I going? Am I just going to go over an edge? Am I going to smash into this thing and just disappear? Like, so this is like, you know, the next stage of kind of your awakening. So you go through the thrill of being in control all of a sudden and making your own moves, and you're getting somewhere. And then like this next part is like, you know, you realize that you're not the only one moving you. There is this greater power, this magnet that's drawing you, and when you get your balance right, you start rolling like quickly, and like, you know, this stage of the awakening, like a lot of fear, and you're just like, I don't want to be out of control again, you know, anymore. Like, I want to know what's about to happen. I don't know what's going on. And so this next part of it is like the acceptance of, no, like it's got to be right, because I have, you know, I'm now fully me. I've got to trust this. I've got to break through this next step and just release my trying to move my sands to try and get away from the magnet. And I've just got to relax and let the magnet do the work now. Because if I start trying to back away or freak out and move my sands and trying to control this, it's going to slow down me being drawn to where I need to be, my magnet. But, you know, because it's a bit scary and you feel a bit out of control, like you're not in charge of the role anymore, you know, you seriously start freaking out, and you want to control it again. But like this step is like this final, or not, I don't know if it's final, but like this step. Spiders just crawled onto my, fuck, I don't like spiders. It's literally crawling all over my desk. If I start screaming, you know, it's because the spiders end up in my lap. Anyway, yeah, so it's this like breakthrough of acceptance and trust in your magnet and being drawn, and the best thing you can do to get where you want to be is easy, smooth sailing, like smooth rolling and quickly, and, you know, without all the wobbles and spins, and by you trying to control your sands, you know, you can imagine literally it rolling and you trying to control it, and yet it's still dragging you. So you're either smoothly rolling in trust, or you're freaking zigzagging, spinning, being dragged along to your magnet. So that's kind of like the next stage in this awakening process, right? And then you kind of like all this tension and thing builds up, like, what the fuck's going to happen? I don't know. And what I came up with, like, hang on, he's hiding. All this like next stage is like after this is all of a sudden realizing you're not an egg timer, you're a yo-yo, and you're the yo-yo, and so you're not going to just disappear. You get like drawn back up, and then you realize that, and then, you know, part of this realization of you being a yo-yo, like, you know, the roll, how the yo-yo rolls out, and then being drawn back up, and then you're like, oh, phew, like, you know, someone's got me. I'm on a string, right? I'm not just loose. I'm not going to just disappear. There is a cord holding me. But then you're like, well, who's controlling me? Who's at the other end of the cord? I'm not in control again. So it goes from freaking out to relief, then to freaking out again. This control freaking thing. But you know, at least you've got a cord attached to you, and someone's got you. But again, you're like, well, fuck, I'm on a piece of string. Like, I'm not a puppet, goddammit. But then the next level after that is realizing that you are the one holding the yo-yo. You are in control of the yo-yo, and the only reason you thought you were the yo-yo is because you holding the yo-yo, your attention was on that yo-yo so much, you became it. And you know, when you put your attention on something so hard and you embody it. You embodied it so much in that moment you forgot that you were the one actually in control. And before that, you were the one holding the yo-yo, thinking it was the yo-yo, and before that you were thinking that like you could not control the yo-yo enough, that it was just out of control, like a egg timer, willy-nilly. You know what I mean? Like the levels of your attention and imagination or embodiment in that object, like that is your dimensional existence, like the different dimensions of consciousness, like that you put yourself into to the point of, from someone playing with the yo-yo to being the yo-yo, to imagining that yo-yo. Imagine it like if that yo-yo paused and was just spinning. That is like the egg timer. And if you're in that moment, your attention, your existence is in that one moment of just like spinning on the end of the string. You know how it does that? That is like the egg timer, just like you're stuck in one little moment of time, and it's just doing one thing, thinking that that's all there is. And that's what like our human life, like that's all there is, but that's not all there is. Yeah, I don't know if that like fully gels all together, but hopefully you understand what I'm getting at, is that the big picture, the big picture, we may think that our lives are just the egg timer or just the yo-yo, but the big picture thinking is that we are actually the person on the end of that cord, skillfully managing where that yo-yo is going. And just because like we may think that we're the yo-yo, that's only because part of your attention has been placed there. You're not the yo-yo, but your attention has been placed on the yo-yo. Kind of, you know, like I'm saying the I am, big picture, like imagine this like we are, you know, that's our higher self. And you know, when, for example, like, you know, you're a master of a sport, a master of this craft, they become one with their tools, with their, you know, that yo-yo becomes an extension of that person. That's how much they, you know, have mastered the craft. So we're an extension, you know, and you know what I mean, like we freaking own that yo-yo, but you're not the yo-yo, you are the whole thing. And you know, you can also imagine, like I'm talking, you know, source, I'm talking a higher self, I'm talking source. Imagine source as, you know, that person with freaking a gazillion yo-yos, playing with them. Not playing with them, mastering them. It's a freaking yo-yo show of, you know, every different yo-yo is like God is the master of yo-yos. We're not puppets. It's like we're his expressions of his masterful skills. You know, each yo-yo that goes out from you know, this master of yo-yos from source, he's I mean, this source, he knows what he's doing with these yo-yos. He sends them out, and if the spider's back. Oh my god, like he knows how to hide. Yeah, I mean, so when he goes and throws a yo-yo out, he knows exactly what it's doing and what it's meant to do. But remember, if that yo-yo, when it goes back into the egg cup, and if that egg cup, the egg timer, starts freaking out that it's not in control and starts shifting around with the timing and doesn't want to go back up the cord as a yo-yo, or wants to you know, wants its control, or it just freaks out, it's not going to do what it was designed to do when it was sent out. So this is what I mean, like, trust that the cord that you were sent out on does the perfect trick for that yo-yo, the way it was designed, if we just go with that magnetic pull. Do you know what I mean? If we fight it, we're ruining the magic of Source's masterful yo-yo playing skills type thing. Yeah, and we are Source because we're an extension. We are, you know, we are one part of his attention focused on that. We're one part of our attention gone down that cord to roll with the yo-yo. Every yo-yo, every cord, every yo-yo that Source has sent out has part of his attention, purpose sent with it, and that is us. You know, we are that purpose on that cord of that yo-yo is part of Source's attention, Source's consciousness. You know what I mean? So every trick, every stunt, every yo-yo's got, like, he has decided what he wants to do with that, because he's the master and he knows exactly what each one needs to do in order to get the overall desired effect, right? And it's his show. He's putting on this show. And do you know what I mean? Like, you are one of his yo-yos, and you have become at this end very, you know, embodied from his idea of that cord, of that yo-yo. And then everyone else is exactly the same. We're all yo-yos coming out of Source. So, big picture, you know, you go like that, you know, and there's so many metaphors to, you know, understand this big picture, thinking that we are, you know, that we are God, that we all one, we all come from the one. And this is one of my metaphors of, like, breaking it down to get to that biggest picture, that we are the one, we are part of the one, and we all are. Yeah. I've got, like, you know, just this idea of this big guy with a freaking gazillion yo-yos going on. But yeah, you know, like, I've thought about it in many different ways. Like, visualizations are like, you know, it's been a very, like, a great way, a useful tool for me to understand these things on so many different levels. You know, to wrap your head around this sort of stuff, you know, whether it's like time in general, like how the quantum works, how I can be communicating with, you know, other beings, and you know, I've thought about that on many different levels as well. And you know, these chords are like frequencies, and yeah. But I'll leave that one there for now, you know, as a yo-yo, the yo-yo god, master of yo-yos metaphor for, yeah, understanding the link we have, and trusting that, you know, we are you know, connected. And if we trust that, we will naturally do the tricks that we were meant to do, because he is the master of yo-yos and he knows exactly what he wants. And we are him. And if we just be us, then that's us doing what we were meant to be doing. So yeah, like, imagine like you are the master of yo-yos and you send this yo-yo out and you want it to do that. And you know, you're the master of yo-yos, so you do that. And your intention for that yo-yo travels down that cord and becomes that trick. And now that trick is now like me. I have embodied that trick. And so what I have to do in this lifetime to do that trick is just to be purely me. If I start watching someone else do their tricks and I think that I have to do that, and I keep trying to do that, it's putting my trick completely off. I'm not meant to do anyone else's tricks. I'm meant to do mine. And the only way I can do mine is by getting into my flow and just doing me and allowing the trick to happen, allowing me to happen, without thinking, watching any other yo-yos doing their stuff and like start comparing, like, fuck, their tricks are better than mine. Fuck. It is just, you're just putting your yo-yo off balance. And you know, so as soon as you relax and allow that cord to pull you and throw you, roll you to where you need to be, to trust your cord, to trust your roll, to trust your flow, that is when you are doing what you were made to do, what you made you to do. You might only be one little slice of the sauce, but you are. When you come back up, you're sauce again, the master of yo-yos. You're only, you know, only a slice, like a one trick. I mean, yo-yos can do a million things. And fuck, this is the master of yo-yos we're talking about, so it's not like you can just do one trick. You know, maybe some of us do one, some of us do a few, some of us do like some freaking weird freaking thing. And don't compare, because it's not about just 3 yo-yos down here, one doing a one up and back, and then one doing maybe a couple of rolls or something. We are part of, you know, our trick is like, think of it as, I'm kind of getting like, you know, those synchronized swimmers, how, you know, they kind of do everything all at the same time. Like that level of mastery of it's a show, but also it's like a performance, but also what's the word for it? You know, like it's It's the grand show. So, you know, just looking at your little area of yo-yos is not, you can't judge, because your little part is part of the whole grand show of yo-yos. And your part matters. It's like you know, the Mexican wave or whatever it is. You know, like doing your part at your time allows it to happen. And that's what our trick is all about. And that's why every single one of us is absolutely important for the grand show. No matter what it is compared to the other yo-yos. You know, like think of the you know, that example of the swimmers, the synchronized swimmers. Like some of their like tricks are like kind of like the Mexican wave but in water, you know, like one will come up a little bit, then one will come up more, and one will come up more, and one will come up more, and then this one up here gets pushed up and does 5 flips in the air and comes down. Even if you're just this one over here just doing a little kick out of the water, you make that, you're part of the big picture. Just because you weren't the one jumping 5 meters up in the air and doing 7 flips before coming back in, like that was amazing, but you know, like you started it, or you're part of it, and you're part of the whole group. And that's why like, I mean, it's so important that we all really, you know, it's this authenticity thing. We were made for a reason. We were made to become ourselves and embody that and do our tricks. And that's the level of importance. You are made to do it. You know, like, just imagine like God's up there doing all these tricks over and over again until he gets the whole beautiful thing right, you know. And shit, like, it's like we've been practicing and practicing for lifetimes after lifetimes. And yeah, like we're reaching this stage where we're getting really fucking good, and you know, the quicker you can get in your flow, or the more flow you can be in, the better for the big picture. You know, type thing. Yeah, so I'll leave it there. I hope that kind of helped. Big picture thinking. We're all important, we're all part of the whole, and we all have amazing talents and gifts that want to come out, that will put in us to complete, if we just go with our flow. And I just got, you remember those yo-yos, like I think they were the Coca-Cola ones, and when they went down they kind of flashed, the lights flashed. That's like when when you get to your flow and you start doing your trick, you start flashing. And that's yeah, it's pretty groovy. Kind of makes me want to play with a yo-yo, but yeah, I hope that was kind of enjoyable and made some sense. Have a good one.